coaching for 16 years. And this is kind of cool, Kristi, because I'm from a small town outside of Chicago. But I also, my former career was a special agent for the United States government and a counterintelligence agent. So, and someone would say, well, how does that relate to coaching? I'm a question asker. I will ask questions, right, Jess? Jess is like, yes, coaching is about asking a lot of questions, right? And when I left that career, my first coaching was a natural health practitioner, Kristi. So right along the lines, and I can tell you that my business did not blow up until I started learning about the unconscious mind, which is the 6 inches in between the ears, which I finally referred to as the IBSC. So, and I'll apologize for my profanity, but that's called the itty bitty shitty committee, right? That is back there going, you can't do that. You'll never do this. You're not enough. There's 1,000 real estate agents out there. Oh, shoot, the market's crashing. Or maybe should I go get a job, right? When you start thinking about what you're thinking about, friends, that is where the magic is. So when Kristi speaks, listen to her gig, especially about, and we coach the whole person, right? Because would you agree, if you've got a problem at home, right, or your health is not good, does that pour into your business? 100%. If you have a day that is less than stellar at work and you had disappointment after disappointment, does that affect your relationships, right, with your kids and your loved ones, right? And hopefully not to a huge extent, but still you're going to be quieter, you're going to be inward. So when I say coach to the whole person in business coaching, it's important, because if we don't take care of this and put our air mask on first, you're not good to anybody. Right. So we're all business owners here. In the program I designed, I coach other people as well. I've got an architectural design company. I've got a general contractor. I've worked with a chiropractor. But here's the deal. When you go to school for real estate or lending or, you know, whatever it is that you're doing, does anyone teach you how to run a business? So how many, put in the chat for me, how many hours during your licensing did they teach you how to run a business like a business on the day-to-day? It's usually a big fat zero, right? So they give us our licenses and they're like, go make money. Well, how do we do that? Right. And that's what I realized after coaching agents for several years. And so many owners are like this. They're playing badminton or what they call whack-a-mole all day long. Oh, there's a text. There's an email. Oh, I got to check the voicemails. Oh, I better go check the laundry. Well, the dog needs to let out. And maybe I should do this and do that. And we stay stuck in the easy things because we don't want to do the harder things. So when I developed the 90K and 90-day program, it's a community that is blowing my mind. We have to change the name. So I'm open to names. And here's why. So Bree Corner was in the program. And I actually, after about 3/4 of the way through the program, I met her. I invited everybody in the program to meet me in Austin, Texas for a live event that was not mine. It was for systems for real estate agents. Bree took me up on it. And then when we met, we gave a hug. And then about an hour later, she goes, I have a confession to make. And I said, what's that, honey? And she goes, I didn't believe in your program. I'm like, oh. And I'm like, okay, fair. Thanks for speaking your truth. And guess how much? Well, she admitted it. And I said, did you not believe in the process, or that you, she goes, I just didn't believe I'd get 90K in. I knew I was going to improve because I've been in some of your classes before, but I didn't believe I was getting 90K in. $310,000 later in her pipeline in 90 days, my friends, right? She just crushed it. And it's not magic sauce, right? The magic sauce is showing up, deciding who you've got to be, and then we help you create your customized plan with standard operating procedures, right? Like one of which is putting your air mask on before you start the day. So here's what that means. How many people have in the past or still do wake up and look at this? Text, calls, emails, Facebook. Stop it. Because what that does, it wires your brain for fear, doubt, worry, and anxiety, right? And we've got to rewire our brain. Sounds simple, but I tell you what, when you figure out what your morning program is, and I give all these choices, and I recommend people do a 3x5 if you've never done one before, because my morning program is now 2 hours long. Right? No one's going to start off at 2 hours, but I started spoiling myself and I realized how much Kristi's laughing, right? I'm like, I could probably do this all day. You do have to put a limit on it. But if you start choosing 3 things in the morning and you do it for 5 minutes each, And it really is feeding yourself, right? So the first thing you're doing by getting those making those decisions of what your morning routine will look like is that you don't have to make decisions right off the start of the day, right? You're telling your unconscious mind that you're in charge, and it's not, right? You're not going to let it just run amok and do whatever it wants. And so your body will start to be retraining, knowing that you have less decisions to make. You know what you're going to do. You're planting your feet on a good foundation. It reduces stress. It reduces anxiety. It makes you make decisions more solidly, and you're getting your mental game together. It's like putting your air mask on. Simple, right? But not easy. That's like one aspect of the program. We have people do their self-care, your night program, your morning program, because your day is going to end up how you ended it, right? So the day is going to start. So if you were up scrolling till 3 o'clock in the morning or midnight or 11, and you didn't get enough sleep, you're not going to get up on time. You're going to feel kind of icky. You're not going to feel on track. So the first and foremost, the 90K is about taking care of yourself. And then we start teaching people what I call the 5 top producer strategies to thrive in any market. Some of it is mindset. We sprinkle it in. I'm writing a book, by the way, called The Bulletproof Mindset for real estate agents and other entrepreneurs, because it really does start here. If you don't think you're capable of doing something, I think that was Henry Ford. Whether you think you can or you can't, you're right. And if you just, whatever thoughts are landing in your head all day and you accept them and you go down the rabbit hole, right, it's only going to get worse. But I want to encourage you, you can take control of every single one of those thoughts. You can decide how you're going to run your day. We talk about healthy win-win boundaries. That's one of the strategies. Who here does, as any entrepreneur should be doing, does anyone have a set amount of time that they set aside every single day to, I call it go fishing. It's really lead generation. I hate that name, right? It doesn't even sound like much fun. All right. But to, right, poke people, the old Facebook poke, to get their attention, to say, just to remind them to say hi in a non-salesy way. Is anyone put in the chat for me or unmute? Or yes, we do it. This is awesome. That is imperative because most people will start to do it later. They'll say, I'll do it later. In the 90K program, we create a bunker. We show you how to create that bunker, setting win-win healthy boundaries, and come up with a plan of what you're going to say. Because I've learned over the years when people don't do it, I'm like, well, what happened? What got in the way? And the first thing I learned is was talking to a client and I said, okay, it's been several weeks. She was a one-on-one client. She's not getting it done. So I said, walk me through your morning routine. And she told me, she gets to it. She grabs her tea. She goes into her office at 9 o'clock. You should all have a start time, right? Consistently. It's all about consistency, doing the things. And she goes, I go to my office. I said, then what happens? She goes, I turn around and walk out because it's a disaster in there and I don't want to be in there. It gives me anxiety. Well, you know what? In this program, one of the requirements to join is that you get your office together. Send me a picture of the before, right? Just saying, yes, it's so true. And it's not like a magic sauce, but all these little things. And it's like when you start riding a bike, you start pedaling. At first, it may be hard, but then you've got speed, right? Like a fine-tuned, well-oiled machine. And so keeping your office clean and cleaning at the end of each day, because a cluttered office is a cluttered mind, period, end of story. Secondly, I realized people don't know who to call and what to say, right? So we print out our call list, who we're going to call. And so here's a really good, easy script that anyone can use when you call someone, right? Which is to say, hey, it's Randy. How's it going today? Good. I'm just calling to check in on you and see what I can do to make your day better. What do you need today?
That's a
I wish
great,
someone would call me. Randy, would you call me tomorrow morning and ask?
yeah,
Or if you're in real estate and lending, you could say, I love helping other entrepreneurs build their business. I've got a list of everyone who does everything from hair to dog walking to plumbing to electrician to maintenance, etc. Do you need anyone? No, we're set. We got all of our people. Awesome. Who do you know, love, and trust that I can call to interview and vet and get on my list and help them build their business? You're not asking them for anything.
mhm,
You know, there are a lot of theories out there that you should always ask. I don't recommend this. But if my clients are doing it, I won't take it away from them, right? On the flip side, I'm never going to shove the square peg in the round hole because I think there's a way for you to run your business that is authentic to who you are and how you were created, right? A lot of them say, call everyone you know and ask, who do you know who wants to buy, sell, or invest in real estate? I say, never ask that question. That's my personal opinion. But if it's working for you, don't stop, right? Keep doing it if it's working for you. But if you come from contribution, wanting to have an impact, you could give away a free home equity analysis. That's the reason of your call. We got like 16, 15 reasons to call. It's on all non-icky. But deciding at the end of the day what your next day is going to look like, using your calendar, making sure you're doing that lead gen, right, every single day in a way that's fun. One of my clients sold 22 homes in 45 days by playing pickleball. Mm-hmm. She doesn't sit at her desk for 2 hours a day. She plays pickleball for 2 hours a day. All right. So being intentional, I think, in the 90K 90 days is the key, right? It's the key to deciding who you're going to be, because people who are resolute and they know they have decided, they know where they came from, they know where they're going, they are not giving up. Keep your eye on the prize. Turn off the news and just decide where you're going. You will get there, right? And you got to figure out the 3 activities you enjoy doing that's going to bring the leads in the door. And I know I don't want to take up all the time, so a couple more things. So the 5 top producer strategies are your routines: morning routine, night routine, and an end of day wrap up, right? Where you close the books on one day, look at it and say, how did I do? All right. What do I want to do better tomorrow? Because business is really almost parallel to life, you guys. There's a saying, have you ever heard this? Your business will grow to the extent you do. That's a fact. If you stay stagnant and don't grow as a person, your business is not going to grow. Personal growth and development is key to running a successful, thriving business, right? Because it's going to help you along your path in life in general. And then you start attracting different people. So watch the people you're hanging around with, right? There's also another saying, you can't soar with the eagles if you're flying with the chickens, right? That goes back to win-win healthy boundaries, which is strategy number 2 of top producers. There's a way to say everything with love and grace. So think about the energy drainers in your life. What are the people, the places, the things that suck the life out of you? Right? And if you're a person who win-win healthy boundaries, if you're a person that says yes when you really mean no because you're already overwhelmed, and if you think about it, that means we're really out of integrity because we're feeling one thing and we're saying something else. And the solution to that would be, Jocelyn, I know you asked me if I could help with the yard sale on Saturday. Every fiber of my being wants to be with you, sister. And when I look at my calendar, I will be overwhelmed and exhausted if I add one more thing on. I really wish I could. Let's talk about it next time. All right. If anyone says no, I need to suck the last breath out of your body. Right? Maybe that's a harder boundary, right? So win-win healthy boundaries are imperative. Mm-hmm. And finally, does everyone know what is that? And you could apply this to any business, the Pareto's principle, the 80-20 rule. 80% of what you do comes from 20% of your activities. Or a real estate agent and lender, and a lot of others, you said tweak it a little bit. It is lead generation, right? Lead follow-up, 2 different things. Negotiating contracts. Practicing what you're going to say, like with the new thing coming up. And I don't believe in role and script play or script practice, repeating what someone else said. What I do believe in is knowing the answers, right? So you're not stuck with, which is not a bad answer. Let me check. I want to make sure I give you the right information. That's always okay to say, but it always feels a heck of a lot better if we've had the discussion before and we know how to address it, right? So if you ever attend a role play, write down the 5 things in the answer, bullet point them, and just have them in the back of your head. I've seen scripting ninjas, which they just had the answer no matter what was thrown at them because they're well studied, right? And especially with the new, all the lawsuits and everything, right? There's a way that you need to present to your buyers, right? That they may have to be buying it. And it's a matter of just communication, right? So what were they again? They were lead generation, lead follow-up, script and role play, going on appointments, and negotiating contracts. That is your 20% if you're an agent or a lender. And if you think about it in any other business, right? It may also be creating content, but that's the core of it. And in the 90K program, we teach you how to run your business like a business. And it's all about accountability. We got a private Facebook group on it. If anyone here wants to come to day one, and this one is really geared towards agents and lenders, so I can't open it up, to other people. But if you want to come complimentary to day one to see what the vibe is like, I'm going to give you my number and I'll put it in the chat. And we'll let you come in for day one to see what the vibe is like and see if it's a good fit for you. So let me put this out, 720-338-2586. You can also send me your email. We give out free resources. I never spam people without giving them something. Come from contribution, all right? And the best advice I can give to any entrepreneur is decide where you're going, make your plan, break it down to what that looks like daily, weekly, and stick to it. And keep the IBSC out of the picture.
Sounds super. So the question will be, I think the other one is, when does it start?
Yep.
And
it's going to be Tuesday.
Yeah.
This Tuesday, February 20th. And let me look at my calendar. I think it's
Yeah.
noon EST, but let me make sure. Yep, noon Eastern Standard. So that's 11 Central, 10 Mountain, and 9 Pacific time. I can't send out the recording because it's got to be live, right? Yeah. And you have to be there. Cameras have to be on. And the reason I say that, friends, it's so important because going back to that statement, we grow to the extent our business does, right? Our business will grow to the extent that we do. We are not going to grow unless we're vulnerable, right? So this is a safe space where there is no judgment. Everybody agrees that the stories that are told here stay here, right? You don't share someone else's experience. Only members of the tribe, if they have to miss, will see the recordings. And that's why we need cameras on. Because if someone's being vulnerable and saying, God, I lost the biggest deal of my life the other day, and then there's tears. I can tell you how many safe spaces I've held for individual agents and in group when the tears come, because that's part of life, man. That's why God gave us tears, to heal. And then are they going to be vulnerable if they got cameras off? Because we all are thinking, what are people thinking, right? And it's our judgments, our fear of judgment is how we judge ourselves, by the way. But if cameras are off, people just aren't willing to share and be vulnerable, right? So if you want to come, cameras on, in your seat, ready to rock and roll and take notes, and we're going to have a good time, friends.
Sounds super, Monica. That sounds super. So we know it starts next Tuesday,
yep,
12 noon Eastern. And do they run for about 60 to 90 minutes? What's this first day?
Yeah, I do 60 minutes. Okay. And then the first day is going to be the whole 90 because it's a lot of setup. And I'm giving people some homework beforehand. Like they know they got to get their office clean. By the way, write this down to scrub your database. I need your address.com. It's a free resource. My client Randy did it during Christmas card time. She got 17 replies within the hour and 2 deals out of it. Right. It's a good way to touch everyone. Because remember, when you do your lead generation, you're just poking people. You don't care if they get back to you. Don't make that mean anything. It's just poking them, reminding them what you do, saying hi. If they get back, it doesn't matter. They'll reach out when they need to. Yeah. So 90 minutes. And then after the first meeting, it's an hour, and anyone who needs extra help for the last 30 can stay for Q&A.
Sounds super, Monica. Okay, right on. So anybody that wants to do, get a hold of Monica there, her number was in there, and you can probably find her online as well. Reach out to us, and we'll make sure you connect. Thank you very much, Monica.
Thanks for letting me in. I appreciate it. We're going to have a blast. I hope to see you there. I'm going to let the dog in. Kristi, I can't wait to hear about your business.
Okay, right on. So now it's Kristi's turn here. Now, Kristi, what we're going to do here is we'll have you maybe talk about both sides here. If you want to talk about Fuel the Beast, and at the same time also talk about 90 Breathworks. And please include, same thing that Monica did, your background, where you came from, and kind of the experience that you had over that couple of years that you always talk about before, moving back to Chicago. So Kristi Batallini here with 90 Breathworks, and I think there's probably 3 or 4 other things there, and I'll let you run with it.
Yes, thank you. So like I said, I'm from Chicago, and I was a Chicago police officer for 23 years. The last 8 years I was a detective. And then I retired a little, I guess, early, and traveled for about, I guess, a year and a half. I settled down for a year in Idaho, out west, just all out west, just stayed in Airbnbs. And, I had started my nutrition business while I was working in law enforcement. It had took all these certifications. I always say like my whole life has been my experience because I've always been interested in it. And I took exercise physiology in college. So it kind of like, it took like a 23-year break. I took a nutrition course, I think like a graduate course, like right after college. And then I got in law enforcement. And then I went back to kind of my passion. And I traveled and worked from my laptop as I built my business. And then I decided I want to come back to Chicago because I have both a lot of connections and family here, and I still love the city. But yeah, and I started just really digging into the nutrition, but also I had a client that was undergoing a lot of stress and anxiety. And I did not know, like you can do certain things nutritionally to help with that, like magnesium, better sleep, but I really didn't know how to help her. So I was searching for other ways just to help a client. I was like, what can I do? Kind of brainstorming. And I had taken a breathwork session at a retreat, and it was several years before this. And I always remembered it. I took a session and I was like, oh my God, it was the most amazing thing. Like I had the most amazing experience. And then I always thought I would come back to it. And then again, your phone or whatever, Facebook listens to you. Of course, this popped up a advertisement for this breath work, and they were doing a session. So I took the session on Zoom. The next day that night, I think I signed up to talk to somebody about doing it. And I literally signed up for the program, and it was, Breath Masters. So it's a journey. So it's a breathwork journey. So it's not just, you can't break it up into smaller journeys, but it's like an hour to an hour and a half long breathwork session. And then from there, the company that I was with introduced what is 9D. So it's 9-dimensional. So I'll show you really quick, because you get these headphones. I have them right here. So I've done it a couple times online, but I do it mostly in person. And you get these headphones with that you order, and it is an hour long. You put on the headphones, you get a group of people. So everybody's in their own world. And people that have done breath work in big groups say they love this because they can't always hear what the experience of the other person, and they're in their own world. But it's also, there's music, there's coaching through the actual headphones. There's different themes, and then there's subconscious like programming based on the theme. A lot of them's like letting go, awakening, stress and anxiety relief. So it's almost getting deeper into what I think is needed now, like trauma release for a lot of people. A lot of people feel like, I've been told, like that's been like 5 years worth of therapy in 1 hour. I release so much. So I've been doing that now in Chicago, and I do it hands-on. So I kind of do somatic touch along with it. So I push people through it because it is called breath work for a reason. And then I've been doing lately, it was interesting what Monica said about the morning using your cell phone. I've been getting more into with my nutrition because it's always like learning and evolving, right? So my program now is not only diet and exercise and breath work, but it's also your circadian rhythms and how we're literally like plants, how we're watered. We need the sun. And myself, I realized how I'm so affected by it. We get up and we look at this unnatural light. And then we're at night, we're sitting at our computers or we're in unnatural light, and our body, our rhythms are all off. So our hormones are off, our cortisol is like up in the morning. And I was doing the same thing with fasting. A big part of my nutrition program was fasting, and I've totally switched. I still add it to my program, but how we do it, because we're supposed to generally eat more in the morning or early afternoon. And at night, if you want to kickstart that fat burning, I always say, you might as well sleep and burn fat at the same time. And how you do that is you just don't snack at night. You get used to not snacking at night, eating light, going for a walk after your like last meal, and make it early. Be at the early bird dinner, I say. Be the early bird person. But this is shifting our circadian rhythms, and it's super important because it's not just what you eat. It's important, and how you move, but when and how you do it. And we're all, even if you're not like a night shift worker, we kind of all are in that world. We're naturally night shift people because we're out later than we should be, or we have the lights on. Even if you just watch TV, right? And again, I do these things too, but it's knowing that this might be affecting your overall health. So it's not just, and how do I combat this in using technology in the modern world? Because I mean, I live in a city. I can't always, even getting outside on a cloudy day, super important. So now it's like I get outside, even if it's 15 minutes walk in the sun, it's going to have a huge impact on, I think the biggest thing is our sleep, right? A lot of I work with women usually over 40, and a lot of them say, I can't sleep at night, or I keep getting up. And I'm like, well, how often are you outside, and how long are you walking? And is the sun hitting your skin? Even, and most people aren't. It's like, well, we're living in such an unnatural environment. So the results are the way we live. And then we have all these conditions that come up from our natural way of living. So even like what Monica said with our morning routine and evening routine, how that's so important to us. And then the breath work in the morning, just like deep breathing 20 times, taking 20 deep breaths while you do your journaling or morning, whatever you do, visualization, affirmations, super important. And then the last thing I'm doing is through Andy and Jocelyn created a beautiful website for me called Chicago Wellness Pros. And because I was like, kind of what Max said, like, what would I love to do to help other people? And I'm like, oh gosh, I would love someone there just to help me when I started my business, because I had no idea. Like, I took all these nutrition courses, and I still, like, I'm always learning, but the marketing, I'm not a marketer. I don't know how to do any of this stuff. So it's like you learn as you go. So I was like, I would just love to have somebody helping me do that. So with Chicago Wellness Pros, it's just helping other people that want to help others get healthy, and getting them out there, interviewing, getting the message out there, finding what's right for other people, and really highlighting what they have to give. So that's basically right now overall. Oh, and I do have to say one thing about the kids, the Breathwork program. They just launched a kids program. So the company I'm working with, they're in the last stages of doing research on it. So I've worked with a couple of friends' kids, and then my niece is 12, and she did the breath work. So it's geared to, because all these kids are having such anxiety. I've had friends' kids say, oh, my kid has such stress or anxiety. I'm like, at like 9 and 10, it's so sad, right? It's just like, and so they're introducing, and I'm going to bring it. My hope is bringing it. My intention is bringing this to Chicago, and all the Chicago public schools, but the private schools as well, and then just spreading it and getting more practitioners here to help with that. And yeah, that's what I have so far. So it's very exciting. I feel like I'm still at the beginning.
That's great, Kristi. So now, if we take a look at just 90 breath works outside of nutrition and so on there, when somebody takes the class, is it just a one-time only? Do they take it over a period of months, or how is that structured?
Yeah, so I've done some one-on-ones. So usually I tell people, because everyone's different. That's a question a lot of people ask, like, how often do I need to do this? Mm-hmm. And it varies what I recommend. You can do it once a week, but I say at least twice the month if you want to do it once a week. Just and then after, because I've had clients do it for like 4 months, like once a week, and then they went to like once a month after that, and then they're like, I need to come back, because every experience, it'll be a little bit different. What you'll feel is a little bit different. People release, they'll sometimes cry, but sometimes they'll laugh too. Things come up from the subconscious mind. So I usually do a 4-session or 8 session kind of packages along with it. And after the 4, they see if they want to do more, but that's kind of like, they don't want the bigger 8-session package. And then I go through different themes. So each theme, it kind of builds on the other. It's like a rest and relax, a letting go. There's one called transcending fear. So it just depends what people are looking for. And there's one for entrepreneurs, abundance. So it's resetting our mind for abundant. It's really great for people that are like in our entrepreneurial field. So yeah, and then you can do groups. So doing it at yoga centers. I've done a few yoga centers, and one place that's putting together a package for me to come do like every week. So whoever wants to come do different sessions, and yeah, people are always interested. What else is there? What is the other thing? So yeah, it just depends. But it's the same thing as I would say as anything else, like going to the gym or you're meditating and journaling. It's like it's kind of like you got to keep doing it. And after a while, you can space it out more and more, but that's basically where everyone's a little bit different in that sense.
So you did mention something there in what you're talking about was other coaches. Now, are you going to be coaching other coaches, or what's happening there, Kristi?
Yeah, so with the Breathwork, so they have a good affiliate program. So my goal is, because one girl, I don't have anybody right now, but there's one girl that's interested, and she's like, again, she does like I think she does like computer software engineer, and she's like, oh, I love it, I really want to do it. I just started teaching yoga. She's like, but I don't, what do I do? How do I start? So my goal is to help the people in Chicago that want to do this with me, and be like, I already have all these people coming to me, like an overabundance. I can't reach them all. There's yoga centers, there's corporations, there's schools. So bringing on and getting other people certified with it. And the company itself wants us to kind of, it's almost like we're a family and we're exposing the whole world to this. So it's like a bigger thing than just me. So I said, like, that's my passion and my purpose in Chicago, is just to bring that and a whole other slew of people that are interested in it. And right now it's mostly like therapists and yoga instructors, massage therapists that are interested in learning more, and other health coaches too.
Right on. No, that's exciting. That's exciting. So then you did mention that you do them by Zoom. I'm trying to picture that. Now, is that working well? How do they get started on that?
So I've done a few Zoom. It's kind of like a recording you play, you put in your own headphones, the surround sound. It's a substitute for if you're not going to be in person. I've had several people do both, like friends of mine that have done it over Zoom, and then I've done it in person with them. And of course, in person, it's just so different because you're so present and there, and the dog's not barking, you're in the studio, and then I'm hands-on. So when you do the breath work, it's sometimes your mind wants to quit because you have to breathe deeply. It's work. It is like that aspect of work. So having somebody there, it's just like having a coach in the gym with you, the same type of thing. So it's that type, but you still get a lot out of doing the Zoom. Yeah.
Sounds awesome. That sounds awesome. And Jocelyn has a question here.
Where can you buy the headphone?
The headphones itself. So if you do it over Zoom, you can use any headphones. They're not like any, I don't think they're any different from like a Bose headphone or whatever, but the company itself, when you become a certified instructor, they send you 13 of them. So one for you and 12 students, and then you can always order more. So I have like a whole package where it's like a whole system. Yeah. That I bring with me. I have this huge suitcase when I show up. They give you a suitcase. So when I show up to the yoga place, you have this whole big suitcase that says 90 breathwork, and you have all your equipment. Yeah. So it's very cool.
It's awesome. That's awesome. Well, we got this all wrapped up here on time, Jocelyn. That turned out really, really well. And I don't think that, let's see, we have everybody who's on here. Yeah, managed to introduce themselves there. And what we're going to wind up doing then is, we'll have this recording on. We'll put it into the Facebook group. If you wanted it individually sent out to you, that's fantastic. We can do that as well. And next week, we're going to have Ray Luan and Troy Woods both in here, and they're going to be sharing what they're doing. In this case, it's probably more directly related to real estate agents and brokers and loans officers, although I know Troy's would really work with any type of a business that has to deal with consumers or other business owners. That's it for sure. And Ray is all on the AI side of things. So his is applicable to the actual websites you have that you need communication back and forth. And it's actually a good lead in to actually what Troy is providing, which is that live person who's behind the AI and can do the follow-up or step in and so on. So I think it's going to be a really good, synergistic call here next week. So, and then Jesse, we'll get you booked in here in March, and we look forward to having you in here and, share some of your leadership wisdom there. So appreciate that.
I also want to introduce Dr. Tina Lewis. She is with us today, and she is also another business coach, and she takes people out internationally. So It's better if you introduce yourself, please, Dr.
Thank you, Jocelyn, for inviting me. It was an honor to be here. I am Dr. Tina D. Lewis, and my background is actually medicine, graduated from USC Keck School of Medicine here in Southern California. I am the founder of Global Women Speakers International. We literally are the #1 platform for women entrepreneurs to share their message, sell their products and their services, and network with women around the globe. Last year alone, we went into 9 countries. And so if you are an entrepreneur, if you have a business, if you have an impact with the women, we would love to position you on our virtual summits every Sunday speaker series, or have you travel with us around the globe. We're speaking in Paris for International Women's Day, and I can go on and on, but I'm going to cut it off there. You can send me a DM or find me on all things social at Tina D. Lewis. That's TINA D as in Delta, last name Lewis, and I'll put it in the chat. Jocelyn, you and Randy are unbelievable. This is a great platform for people of high caliber, of high integrity to network with one another. Because at the end of the day, that's all it's about, right? If you want to go fast, go alone. But if you want to go far, go together. So with that being said, Jocelyn, back over to you.
Thank you. Thank you for joining us today.
And is there anybody else that's in here that we've missed here, Jocelyn? Because the cameras are off. I see that Z is in here. I'm not
Yes,
sure if she
Z,
wants to
Z.
pop in here. Z, if you wanted to unmute yourself and turn the camera on and say at least hi here. Oh, no, did we lose Z here? She's gone. Oh my goodness, Sarah. So I'm scaring people off.
She's on the road. She can't talk.
Okay,
Oh,
okay. Okay.
Yes. Anyway,
Okay. I'm just scrolling through to make sure we haven't missed anybody here.
is there anyone who have a question to Kristi or to Monica?
Yeah. Yeah, Jesse?
For I'm trying to find a name, Monica. That event for Tuesday, what was I'm East Coast. So what will be
Yeah.
time for East Coast?
It was 12 noon on the East Coast there. Yeah. And like you said, it probably will be 90 minutes, right? You know, to cover everything. Yeah.
Thank you.
And we've got a couple minutes left here. And I was going to have Kristi, now that we do have some extra time here, and there's some time at the end there, didn't really talk about Fuel the Beast and so on. As far as the nutrition side of what you're, working with, I believe it's aimed primarily at women over 40. Is that correct? And then, what are you doing on the nutrition side now?
Yeah, that's correct. It's with balancing your hormones, becoming metabolically flexible, and weight loss. It's just that the mindset that after we hit a certain age, like everything's downhill, and it's been proven that our metabolism actually does not slow. It's just our lifestyle that changes. And so it's like, oh, I can't blame it on that anymore, So now what? So it's getting away from the how the medical industry just treats it as, I was actually listening to something this morning about that, how it just treats it as like this issue where we need drugs for it. And it's just our lifestyle needs to change, and the possibility of us thriving in our later years, because I feel like this is the time where I have all the knowledge from my life, right? And it's like, now I have more time, I have more money in the bank because I worked my whole life, my butt off. And so it's like, now I want to feel good, right? Now I'm like, this is it, this is good. And instead, like, life tells us, oh no, now you're going to be tired. Now you're going to not like what you look like. Now you're not going to feel passionate. And so it's changing that paradigm of energy and be like, this is the time when you could really thrive in a different way. This is when self-care is more important, and focusing on taking care of yourself so you can still take care of others. That's kind of the goal of my program, becoming metabolically flexible and still loving life, having a social life. But there are some sacrifices or changes in your life that you will have to make. It's not because people are like, you can do anything and still lose weight. I'm like, no, your life would change, but it is always worth the changes you'll make to thrive.
Right on. Yeah, because that's something that, we should be sharing as well, is that side of Fuel the Beast type of thing there. So we'll make sure we do that too.
Yeah. Thank you.
May I ask a question to Kristi as well? This is Dr. Tina.
Hello.
Kristi, do you use products?
Do I use, I do, I have a full script, I use supplements through a full script store, but I kind of got away from, products. So I personalize them for people. And I make suggestions for certain things, like certain, for your circadian rhythms, like red light bulbs at night, certain type of like glasses you can wear. So I do do recommendations for certain products, but I don't have like, a product I associate with like an MLM or anything like that.
Okay, no, that's awesome because I believe that there is no such thing as one size fits all. So that's really, really amazing. Okay, that's my question. Thanks.
Thank you.
Perfect. All right. Still see Vanessa. She's probably on the road still, or just scrolling through here. Do you see anybody else in there, Jocelyn, that we haven't missed anybody here yet, have we?
I think Tim Tyler.
Tim, introduce yourself there.
Yourself.
I just got somewhere. I'm not at Mount Hood, but I give you the illusion that I'm at Mount Hood. Really appreciated my gosh, the content today was really, really excellent. Thank you so much, Monica, and thank you so much, Kristi. Really, really, really great. So anyway, yeah, I'm a loan officer here in Linn County. I've been doing the loan officer gig almost, what's going on 30 years right now. And I don't like to say that because it makes me look really old, which I don't feel old. I just am. So so there's that. Interest rates spiked quite a bit yesterday. You know, who are you going to believe? You're going to believe what the Fed is saying, or are you going to believe what the market wants the Fed to do? The Fed's going to win. So so interest rates are they've gone back up a little bit, but we expect with more economic data coming in, we expect rates to settle back down again. They're not going to go down very, very far and very fast. Be more like a slow boat to China, but we do have that on our radar screen anyway, and lots of purchase transactions coming in. So really positive note on it seems like consumer confidence is pretty strong. So so looking for a really great 2024. Thank you all. Appreciate being here.
Okay, thanks a lot, Tim. Thanks a lot. And I believe we are at the top of the hour here, so we know people have other appointments and so on. So I want to thank everybody for being here.